Now read along as the directions for Part C are being read. Remember, you should not read ahead or turn the pages while the directions for this part are being read. Part C. Directions. In this part of the test, you will hear several short talks. After each talk, you will hear some questions. The talks and the questions will not be repeated. After you hear a question, read the 4 possible answers in your test book and choose the best answer. Then on your answer sheet, find the number of the question and fill in the space that corresponds to the letter of the answer you have chosen. Here is an example. On the recording, you hear, "Listen to an instructor talk to his class about bumblebees."
The familiar black and yellow bumblebee is often found in fields of red clover. It is the only bee with a tongue long enough to fertilize this plant, so it is impossible to raise red clover where there are no bumblebees. Like the queen wasp, the queen bee is the only member of her colony that lives through the winter. She starts a new colony in her underground nest every spring by laying from 400 to 1,000 eggs in wax cells or combs. Bumblebees also produce honey. Their nests are often dug up and the contents eaten by bears, mice, and other animals.
Now listen to a sample question. Why is it impossible to raise red clover where there are no bumblebees? In your test book, you read, A. Only bumblebees can fertilize red clover plants. B. Bumblebees protect red clover from plant-eating insects. C. Bumblebees bring water to red clover plants on their tongues. D. Bumblebees keep mice and other animals away from red clover plants. The best answer to the question, "Why is it impossible to raise red clover where there are no bumblebees?" is A. Only bumblebees can fertilize red clover plants. Therefore, the correct choice is A. Now listen to another sample question. According to the speaker, in what way are the queen wasp and the queen bee similar? In your test book, you read, A. They both make honey. B. They both build combs. C. Both of them are found in underground nests. D. They both live through the winter. The best answer to the question, according to the speaker, in what way are the queen wasp and the queen bee similar, is D. They both live through the winter. Therefore, the correct choice is D. Remember, you are not allowed to take notes or write in your test book. Go on to Part C. Now we will begin Part C with the first talk. Questions 38 through 41. Listen to the following talk about Samuel P. Langley.
I'd like to welcome you all to our aeronautics collection. Here we house over 3,000 items of historical significance to the development of aeronautics in the United States. The exhibit you see here in front of you is our Samuel P. Langley exhibit. Langley was an astronomer, physicist, and airplane designer whose turn-of-the-century experiments in mechanical flight provided groundwork for later airplane engineers. Although he was unsuccessful in designing an aircraft capable of carrying a passenger, the data obtained in his experiments with unmanned flight were of historical importance. One of the pilotless flying machines that Langley produced was a steam-driven airplane that flew successfully over the Potomac River for a distance of 4,200 feet. The United States Postal Service recently honored Langley's memory with the issue of the Langley Commemorative Airmail Stamp. This stamp's design illustrates one of Langley's inventions, the unmanned Aerodrome No. 5, which was the first American heavier-than-air flying machine to make a free flight of any significant length. In the next room, we can take a look at a model of this invention.
Number 38. Where does this talk most probably take place? Number 39. Why is Samuel Langley important? Number 40. What appears on the commemorative stamp discussed by the speaker? Number 41. What will the speaker probably do next? Questions 42 through 46. Listen to this talk about birds which navigate over oceans.
Birds which fly the oceans are truly remarkable. Birds which fly over land and along the shore use landmarks to navigate, and they orient themselves before and after they cross large bodies of water. Oceanic birds, on the other hand, can turn, spin, and wheel out over the ocean for days at a time, far from any land, and still seem to know exactly where they are. The assumption is that they use the stars and some innate magnetic sense to guide them to their destinations. No one knows for sure. The shearwater is a bird of the ocean and an expert long-distance flyer. The story is told about a young shearwater which was taken from its home in Great Britain, enclosed in a box, flown on an airplane to Boston, Massachusetts, and raised there. 12 nights after it was released, it was back in its home in Great Britain. Many species of birds spend most of their time far out at sea and return to land only to breed. These birds include albatrosses, penguins, petrels, and shearwaters. Penguins are the only birds of this group which are not expert long-distance flyers. In fact, penguins cannot fly at all. They swim long distances and remain at sea for months at a time. The greatest traveler of all, the Arctic tern, winters in the Antarctic and travels about 17,700 kilometers to its breeding grounds in the Arctic. It goes from one of the Earth's poles to the other and then back again each year without losing its way. With all of our sophisticated technology and scientific understanding, it seems hard to believe that we have not learned how the ocean birds navigate. Perhaps we will learn one day. Or perhaps this is one of nature's mysteries which we will never understand.
Number 42. According to the speaker, how are shorebirds different from oceanic birds? Number 43. How do experts believe that oceanic birds navigate? Number 44. What is the significance of the story about the shearwater taken from its home in Great Britain? Number 45. In which university class would this talk most likely take place? Number 46. What can we infer about the speaker's attitude toward nature's mysteries? Questions 47 through 50. Listen to a psychology professor's talk about the effects on personality of birth order.
Many efforts have been made over the years to study differences among the first, second, and last child in a family, as well as the characteristics of only children, that is, children who have no brothers or sisters. No exact conclusions can be drawn about any particular child on the basis of these studies, but some interesting differences emerge when large groups of people are compared on the basis of birth order. Here are some of the findings. Firstborn children tend to be high achievers. For example, in a recent analysis of National Merit Scholarship finalists, nearly 60% were firstborn. Of the first 23 astronauts to go on U.S. space missions, 21 were either firstborn or only children. These are particularly interesting statistics when you consider that firstborn children are outnumbered by later-born children in the U.S. population by nearly 2 to 1. Middle children, according to some observers, have the most comfortable position in the family. Although they lack the authority most parents convey to the oldest in the family, they are also free from the pressure of being the youngest. They tend to be more oriented toward their siblings than the first child is, and therefore are less concerned about winning their parents' approval. The youngest child gets almost as much attention from the parents as the firstborn or only child does. However, youngest children do not sense as much pressure to achieve. They are usually the most babied members of the family, since they get attention from older siblings as well as parents. Oldest children tend to be more serious and responsible than later-born children, even though they are no brighter. Also, firstborn children are quite sensitive. They get their feelings hurt more easily. They also tend more toward being perfectionists than do their younger siblings. Second-born children tend to be more easygoing and friendly than their older siblings. They win more popularity contests and have a higher sociability rating. Youngest-born children have the highest sociability rating of all. Firstborn and only children, from a very early age, become extremely sensitive to their parents' rules and expectations. They measure themselves by adult standards, whereas younger children tend to push for earlier independence from parental rules. Oldest children also tend to be more traditional and religious than their younger siblings. Parents who are aware of these tendencies can take steps to help their firstborn children to be more playful and flexible, and they can ask for more responsibility from their younger children. But even parents who are sensitive to these patterns often don't entirely eliminate the influence of birth order. Do any of these birth order characteristics apply to you?
Number 47. What conclusion does the speaker draw from the fact that birth order differences seem to exist? Number 48. What does the speaker say about parents' ability to counteract the effects of birth order? Number 49. Why does the speaker say that middle children often have the most comfortable spot in the family? Number 50. What significance does the speaker give to the fact that firstborn children are outnumbered in the U.S. population by nearly 2 to 1? This is the end of Section 1 of Complete Practice TOEFL Test 1. Stop work on Section 1 now.